Most people on this earth are going to spend their entire lives toiling for their daily bread, sacrificing their lives to keep on living. But that's not what we are meant to do, not truly what we are meant to do. For those people, they need to work through that to learn who they really are, because they truly believe that sacrificing their soul, sacrificing their tiny amount of time on this earth to do something they hate is necessary to be alive. But you and I know something different. We know that being alive in itself is the only fulfilling thing that you can do on this earth. And it's not even something that you do, it's something you are. Being is the core of fulfillment, and we know that. But we're still in the rat race. Most of us, a lot of us, we're still trying to figure out how to live and how to be without sacrificing our soul. And the reason that this can all feel like wishful thinking and that it makes sense in thought, but in practice it is impossible, is because 99% of people have accepted that this is what their life is worth. And so this resonant frequency permeates everything. Everywhere you go, you are surrounded by this energy, and it is so low, and it brings you down if you're not aware of it. If you don't recognize that this is an external frequency that I am accepting, and when I accept it, it becomes an internal frequency. And when it is an internal frequency, it is reflected in your life. And so the real way to change your existence, right, to make that a reality, we all know that we're not supposed to be working our lives away. We all wish that we could go out and frolic in fields and travel the world and make paintings or play music on stage, whatever it is. We all wish we could do those things. But yet, how do we make it happen? That's where most of us get caught up. And so many people can talk on and on and on about the theory, but the practice is what is important. And if you truly understand the theory, the practice is very, very simple and very, very easy. The theory is, like I said, that resonant frequency that you accept, once it becomes internal, it manifests in your reality. It becomes your reality. Think of a church. Everyone goes there. There's a resonant frequency of this belief system. They accept it internally, and everything they see reinforces that. Everything they see reinforces that. The same goes for atheists. They tune into this resonant frequency, and everywhere they go, they see the complete opposite. So how can two people be living in the same world but have complete opposite experiences? It is because of the frequency that they identify with. Talking about getting far out there into this sort of really ethereal, hard to pin down theory and talk of manifestation and all of that. What I mean by a resonant frequency is simply an emotional and mental state that coincide with one another. The mental and emotional state that coincides with the religious person, or the mental and emotional state that coincides with the atheist. And the reason that that example is pertinent is because everywhere we go in the world, we are tuning into resonant frequencies. Every thought and emotion we have, we are exuding a frequency. And when we do that, the world echoes it back to us. Because everything you perceive is perceived through that frequency. Okay? And so why is this important? How do we make this work? To make it simple, you need to subtract yourself from all external frequencies. And what I mean by that is all physical stimulus, which means your physical environment. Because that physical environment creates a resonant frequency in you of what is my experience of life. All thoughts and all emotions, you need to enter a state, a bubble, I call it. You need to create the bubble. So all day, every day, you're out experiencing the resonant frequencies of the world, creating resonant frequencies without paying attention. And what you're going to do is take time every day to enter the bubble where you cleanse yourself of all frequencies by simply breathing, closing your eyes, lying still, like many meditations we've done. But this is a purpose behind the meditation. The purpose is to create a clean palette of your emotional state and your mental state, to clean out the negative resonant frequencies that the world has pushed on you, that 99% of people are bleeding out of them. You're going to clean that by entering this calm state, this clear state. And once you enter that clear state, then you are going to create the resonant frequency of the world that you want to see. And the way you do that is by realizing that everything that you want already exists. And it can be really hard to kind of understand that. But once you realize that the frequency that you exude determines your reality, you already know that everything you want already exists. Because when you feel it, it is real. So if you can accept the fact that it seems like circular reasoning, but if you can accept the fact that when you truly feel something and truly believe something, it is inevitable. When you enter that clean slate state of emptying yourself of all resonant frequencies, and you picture yourself having what you want, let's say you picture $100,000 in your bank account. And what does that do for you? The traveling, the freedom from stress of work, the time to go do your hobbies, to spend time with your family. Imagine all of these things in your life and feel the feeling. Feel it truly. And what that does is it invites that resonant frequency. It fills you up. You will feel it vibrate through your body. Feel yourself smile. If you can enter this state, you can know for sure that you are inviting this into your life. And the more that you create this circular state of going into it mentally, thinking of everything, feeling some type of emotion, and knowing that feeling that emotion is going to bring that even closer, which allows you to feel that emotion more deeper and deeper and deeper. And the more you believe in this, the deeper and deeper this feeling becomes. And so what that's going to do is it's going to fill your body with this resonant frequency, this emotion, this gratitude. And it's going to take what once was an insurmountable task, an insurmountable goal, an impossible dream, and it's going to make it something that seems so simple and natural. See, the trick was never to grind, was never to struggle and struggle and struggle. The trick was to change your perspective so that the thing that you have to do to bring that reality to you becomes easy, natural, and inevitable. And the reason this works so well is because a part of your brain that determines what is real and determines what is possible, determines your motivation. That's not very scientific, but any neurosurgeons or neuroscientists can tell me their actual words. That part of your brain cannot distinct between what is real and what you are imagining. And I'll give you an example. When you think of something traumatizing or something embarrassing that happened to you, I can think of something embarrassing that happened to me when I was 5 years old. And when I think of that, my gut drops and I feel this embarrassing emotion. And I have to remind myself, wait a minute. That was so long ago. That was very long ago. And anyone that saw that, I've never seen them again in my life, or they don't even remember. Plus, I was 5 years old, but my mind doesn't know that because I'm imagining it, and the emotional state reflects that. Because the mind cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is observed. What is real and what is imagined. Not your whole brain, but the part of your brain that matters. So when you take all of this together and you accept, first of all, that my reality looks exactly the way it does, simply, wholly, and only because of the beliefs I have and the emotions that I feel, otherwise known as my resonant frequency. And when two things with the same resonant frequency are in proximity, and one of them is resonating, like two tuning forks. If one tuning fork is resonated, the other one begins to vibrate if they're in the same frequency. But if they're in different frequencies, they are completely invisible to one another. So the same is true for reality, except that what you want exists as a tuning fork, metaphorically, and you are a tuning fork, except you can change your frequency to match that of what is out there that you want. And when you do that, and when you hold it, and when you practice it, that frequency will have no other choice but to draw that thing to you. It's that simple. And if you don't believe me, I want you to take a magnifying glass to your life and tell me how your frequency, your belief, and your emotional state has drastically differed from the reality that you perceive. And if you really think that your emotional state and your mental state are products of the physical reality, I implore you to show me how I could not say the same in reverse, that the physical world is a direct result of your emotional and mental state. Like the atheist and the religious zealot, these two people exist in the same world, but they have two completely different experiences. And to each of them, they are both completely right, and the other one is completely wrong. They are, in a sense, they are both delusional. They are both delusional because they don't realize that the emotional and mental state of their being creates their own reality. So what is true for them is not true for the other. Now, I'm not saying that there's not any absolute truths in the world, but what I am saying is that whether or not you have $100,000 in your bank account or nothing in your bank account, it does not have to be an absolute truth. Okay? If I cut my arm, I will bleed, right? If I jump off a building, I will fall. These are absolute truths. Whether or not you have success is not an absolute truth. Whether or not you can be an artist, whether or not you can quit your job, whether or not you can leave and go travel, whether or not you can own a house, these are not absolute truths. These are things you can bend to your will by simply and only changing your emotional and mental state. And that's it for today, guys. This is my first real, long form video. So let me know what you thought. Let me know if you have any additions, and especially let me know if there's anything you'd like me to cover in the future. I've been thinking about maybe releasing a couple of guided meditations to kind of get you in the ballpark of this idea. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know any content that you would like me to create, because I would love to hear from you guys. So thanks for 50 subscribers. Pretty crazy, I know. But when I go in that bubble, I got 10 million subscribers. So I guess we'll see if the proof is in the pudding.